This was a channel, unlike most children's channels, had its own sort of purpose. It first began as a American style network, but then would expand to become a part of the worldwide television format. It even and eventually would have reached the UK, so that us lot in the UK could finally have a way to watch some more children's content, especially young me and people that were my age at the time, open up to some really cool children's TV possibilities that in the past would be limited to the main channels. Now that the whole digital satellite resolution was coming, Fox Kids finally opened its doors to the UK and many other parts of the world where they could finally have access to this new wondrous world of children's TV and the way that we think of children's TV to change forever. We are talking about a channel that was referred to as Fox Kids.
Fox Kids, Fox Kids, Fox Kids, Fox Kids, Fox Kids.
So yes, hey everyone. So this children's TV memories video, we're going to have a chance to reflect on my basically my memory of Fox Kids, considering, and I'm sure most who are my age will probably watch this video will most likely remember watching the Fox Kids channel and will remember this particular logo being the famous logo that followed Fox Kids for basically a lot of the 90s actually. Even though their logo in the beginning was a slightly more, they were referred to as Fox Kids Network at the beginning when they first came to the UK, but this was the logo that everyone remembers Fox Kids for. This is the logo that I remember it, and I'm sure most of others will remember this logo to be the logo that represented the channel towards near the end of its, before it changed into its later incarnations as Jetix, which would be its future name that it would basically bear after they would be forced to rebrand as we got into the noughties. I always remembered it as Fox Kids because Fox Kids was essentially the channel that I resonate that channel with, because I have fond memories of watching that channel and I always will. And in fact, they were also responsible for bringing out a lot of home video releases for us a lot in the UK for many of our favorite hero characters that we love to watch on Fox Kids. Let's talk about some of my memories, shall we, of Fox Kids. So where do we stand in terms of Fox Kids? What sort of memories do I have in terms of Fox Kids? Fox Kids had quite a bunch of programs. They had a very large bunch of programs in its catalogue. I mean, there was a lot of programs that collected, but the programs I remember personally in terms of Fox Kids, obviously I'm going to be doing a separate video talking about one particular franchise that had a lot of different versions of itself broadcast on Fox Kids, and that will be the Power Rangers. I'm going to save that for a separate video because there's a lot of Power Rangers there that Fox Kids aired. But in terms of the other stuff I saw in Fox Kids, the first one that comes to mind is actually a series that I would imagine most will remember. I hope they will remember. At least I like to be hopeful they are going to remember this show in some way. You can watch these episodes on YouTube, by the way, if you don't remember. So there are ways to watch it. I'm talking about Masked Rider. This action series that from Saber, because obviously Saber was one of the companies that worked alongside Fox Kids during the early days of its UK branding, provided a lot of their content, and obviously Masked Rider was one of their spin-off contents that was somewhat of a spin-off to Power Rangers, but in a completely different format. So essentially give you the gist of how Masked Rider works. Essentially it's about a prince called Dex who comes from Eloy, who obviously he has a king who is his grandfather is the king, and he's been sent to Earth because of Count Dragon, who I believe I kind of look at this as like Count Dragon was essentially at one time his uncle, and then he's now become evil, he's possessed, and now it's up to Dex to finally sort of defeat him and all his Insectoids, who are essentially his creatures that he holds in his ship, and he would land for Dex to deal with as the Masked Rider. And of course he was given powers of the Masked Rider by his grandfather and essentially, most would look at his outfit and be like, okay, this guy's a bug in a way. And you would be right in that, because he kind of has that sort of bug feel with his costume. But he does have different forms. He has a Masked Rider Rider Super Gold, he has Master Rider Super Blue, which are his two different versions of that outfit that would come later. In the beginning, this would be the outfit that you would see the most in Master Rider. This is like the main outfit he would wear during the battles. But yeah, this series was actually kind of cool. I actually really enjoyed watching the Master Rider. I even had a home video of it. I actually advertised the action figures because I actually got the car. Well, they had Mass Chopper, who was the bike, and then you have the car Magnum. There you go. Magnum was the car. These bikes and cars would talk to Dex in helping him in his quest to defeating Count Dragon's Insectoids. And man, it was really cool. The fact that he would he was essentially the Power Ranger who would remain on Earth, but it would remain in a different part of Earth because, of course, this program was pretty much filmed in Australia. It definitely felt like Australia, especially with the housing and the atmosphere. It definitely had a lot of, definitely had an Australian to the programming, and I think it makes sense considering the fact I would imagine most of the locations are still around, or some buildings may have knocked down since the filming of this program. I would be amazed if anyone's actually done a video going to these locations of where Master Rider had filmed in the 90s. But trust me, it was really, really cool series, and I know some wouldn't remember it because they weren't, because they feel it was underrated. I actually really enjoyed watching the Master Rider. I actually pretty much watched near enough all the episodes that had come out. I think that was how much I loved that. Even though I really enjoyed the Power Rangers, probably a lot more. But yeah, I still watched it, the Master Rider, despite the fact probably most will not probably remember the series because they either skipped the series because they thought it wasn't good. But me, I really enjoyed the Master Rider. I thought it was really, really, really good series. I mean, it's an American live action series, but was filmed pretty much in Australia. It definitely felt like it was filmed in Australia. And also, let's not forget, Dex had a furry friend called Furbus, who is like a bear duck-like creature. Yeah, apparently that's how he's described. But and then of course Dex would meet this family. He would have like a brother and sister, Molly and Abby, because he would get adopted to this family, who he would basically remain with for the longest time. Really, which really cool. I mean, we have Hull Stew, Barbara Stew, Molly Stew, Abby Stew. So basically, the Stew family accepted Dex as a family member over time, and even spent Christmas with them, etc. So yeah, they did do a Christmas episode of Masked Rider. You can imagine how crazy that must have been to have an action hero have his own Christmas special. And also, let's not forget, Masked Rider even had an opportunity to meet the Power Rangers before Masked Rider was a thing. Masked Rider appeared in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in a 3-part episode, A Friend in Need, that would air not too long before the spin-off series would begin, which was really cool. So that was good that they gave an opportunity for Dex to appear with the Power Rangers before he would have his series that would finally follow his journey. And also, surprisingly, I found out this recently that apparently he had a short-lived comic adoption from Marvel Comics. So at one point he was in Marvel Comics, the Masked Rider was, which I was very surprised because I never really noticed because maybe they didn't really advertise it as much. That was pretty interesting that they advertised him as part of, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I think it deserves more credit than it does. In my opinion, it only had 2 series. It has 40 episodes in total. It runs 30 minutes, but it's trust me, there are some funny characters. You have like a brother and sister who are acting like the Bulk and Skull of the series in some way, even though they may not act exactly like they are. Kind of, I guess, the ones who kind of have silly stuff happen to them. But yeah, Masked Rider, really fun series. I really enjoyed it, and maybe people might refresh their memories now that they can go back and see these episodes on YouTube because they've got the whole series, both of those series, on YouTube now if you want to check them out. Yeah, definitely worth checking out if you haven't checked. So Masked Rider was the first of the programs that I, alongside the Power Rangers, that I saw on the channel. But then eventually we also have to acknowledge another series that also very well in the early days of Fox Kids channel in the UK. I obviously have to refer to Big Bang Beetleborgs. Well, the Beetleborgs had 2 different series actually. So let's sort of break this down a little bit. So the Big Bad Beetleborgs was essentially the first illustration of the series where you would have the blue, green, and red suit. Obviously, it's essentially about some young kids who essentially go to this sort of abandoned house, meet these sort of creepy characters who we have Bill Foster who plays Flabber. He essentially leads the sort of ringleaders of these sort of haunting characters who essentially meet these kids and give them, and they obviously tell they talked about their obsession with the Big Bad Beetleborgs comics, and essentially Flubber would essentially bring these sort of outfits to life and giving them the chance to become the Big Bad Beetleborgs, which he was the reason why they got the powers in the first place. And essentially because of that, they were able to use powers like the girl character having the ability to use her finger to move objects up, down, or around, or to bring objects towards her. So she had that ability. You had one of them who had the ability to, which I believe is the one with the black hair, basically has a chance to run really, really fast. And then the other one, I believe, has the ability to pick things up with his, he had the strength to pick up heavy things, which I thought was really cool that they give these characters the abilities like that. And I thought that was really, as well as that, they also had like special gadgets alongside their characters as well, which was really cool. Like for instance, you have black hair person who in the green outfit would have this sort of Beatles style grabber, and then you have the other boy who has the sort of blue outfit. He would have this spike sort of weapon, and then you have the red one who's the girl who essentially has like this blaster gadget. Along sometimes you would see them use these gadgets at times, and then they have their own, like, I guess you could say Megazords. They didn't really have a proper Megazord because Big Bad Beetleborgs, even though they were somewhat another spin-off to Power Rangers, but they were essentially trying to do this whole thing where you don't have to have a Megazord to be a superhero thing, which I could see why they were doing that, because they wanted to be different from Power Rangers in a way. Because I mean, knowing how successful the Power Rangers were at the time, they wanted to do something that's different, do something that's never been done before. They wanted to experiment with the idea, and I think that's really smart that they did that, and I really applaud the decision making they did. And I actually not gonna lie, they did a really good job with Big Bad Beetleborgs. And then of course you got Beetleborgs Model Botanic, which is essentially a more upgraded version of those characters with the more upgraded suits, which you can see in the image here. This is essentially the image of their upgraded version of their suits that they would use later in the series. So essentially we have this version, which was essentially the beginning outfits, the outfits they wore in the Big Bad Beetleborgs, and then you have the other ones that they would use for the Metal Botanics. When they lost these powers, they would essentially upgrade to the Metal Botanics version of the Big Bad Beetleborgs, which would have bigger upgrades to their powers. But nevertheless, I really enjoyed the Big Bad Beetleborgs and Beetleborgs Metal Botanics. I think they had a really fun, and I kind of watched a couple of episodes. I really enjoyed what they did with the Big Bad Beetleborgs, and also they had their own series of home videos as well. Apparently they had a movie at one point, the Big Bad Beetleborgs, the movie that came out in 1997. So that was really cool that they had their own movie for a VHS release, because they did a lot of VHS releases, and they even have a DVD out, Big Bad Beetleborgs as well, which I think you can still buy if you want to own a copy of the Big Bad Beetleborgs, which they have on Blu-ray and DVD should you want to relive the series. And they also had a series of action figures of their outfits, which I remember holding the green. I managed to get, I remember getting the green character, but I didn't get the others, which that was a bit unfortunate. I wasn't able, I think I may have got the others, I just lost them, and then the only one I had in the end was the green Big Bad Beetleborgs character in the end. But it was really fun. It was a really fun series, and I really enjoyed the Big Bad Beetleborgs, and I think they did a really good job with doing something different that is unlike the Power Rangers, something that's been like I said, something unlike the Power Rangers, use like young people as superheroes, which I think was a very genius idea from Saber to bring that into the world of Fox Kids. I thought that was really clever. And then of course we move on to talk about another series this series this was one of the Marvel animated series, because Marvel had a couple of animated series on Fox Kids. The first of them was of course the Iron Man. Iron Man had his own animated series on Fox Kids. Well, interestingly enough, the animated series, I'm pretty sure this was the only instance where you would see Spider-Man appear with Iron Man, because obviously we wouldn't see Spider-Man join Iron Man in the movies until Tom Holland's Spider-Man comes along. So in a way, you could say this was probably the animation that inspired Tom Holland's Spider-Man to finally work alongside Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, which is really clever. So yeah, so you have episodes where Iron Man would be joined by Hawkeye. He would also be joined by, like I said, Spider-Man guest star at one point. There was also some other characters he would also interact with. Obviously, he would interact with his good friend War Machine for a couple of the episodes as well.
Fox Kids, Fox Kids, Fox Kids, Fox Kids, Fox Kids.